Let's start with a pretty wild question, one that comes straight from our source material. Could there be a country out there that's even more isolated, even more repressive than North Korea? Well, the answer might just surprise you. We're going to dive into Turkmenistan, one of the most secretive and bizarre nations on the entire planet.
So, is it really possible? Is Turkmenistan actually worse than North Korea? We're going to walk through the evidence piece by piece and explore why anyone would even make that comparison in the first place. Let's get into it.
All right, first up, this idea of Turkmenistan as a modern-day hermit kingdom, a place that is just defined by absolute control, round-the-clock surveillance, and, just layers and layers of secrecy. Now, to really get what's going on, you need to understand this term, a hermit kingdom. Basically, it's a country that deliberately cuts itself off from the rest of the world. It builds walls, sometimes literally, but also digitally, to keep its own people in and everyone else out. This idea, it's the key to unlocking everything else about this place. So how does this total control actually look in real life? Well, it gets pretty weird pretty fast. For starters, there's a mandatory 11 p.m. curfew for everybody. If you're a visitor, forget about exploring on your own. You get a government guide who is basically your shadow, 24/7. The internet? Nope, blocked. And get this, in the capital city, every single car has to be white. No exceptions. And this obsession with control, it gets turned up to 11 in the capital, Ashgabat. It's like the entire city was built to be one giant piece of propaganda, totally obsessed with breaking world records to project this image of incredible success. This obsession with uniformity is absolutely everywhere. We mentioned the white cars, right? Well, it doesn't stop there. All the roofs has to be painted green or red, the colors of the flag. And the city's actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most bizarre things, like having the highest concentration of fountains anywhere and the world's largest indoor Ferris wheel. It's all about manufacturing this perfect, flawless, and completely artificial image. And just to give you an idea of the sheer scale of these government-run shows, get this. The regime got over 4,000 people together just to break another world record. And what did they have to do? They all had to sing a song that was composed by the president himself. You can't make this stuff up. But here's where it gets really strange, and it's a huge piece of evidence for our big question. Despite all the grand buildings and golden statues, visitors say the city feels completely empty, like a ghost town. You've got these massive, beautiful parks and plazas with absolutely no people in them. It's this huge disconnect between the propaganda and the reality that makes that North Korea comparison so compelling. So, who's behind all this? That brings us to the man at the center of it all, the former president, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov. His official title is Arkadog, which means the protector, and his cult of personality is just inescapable.
I mean, just listen to this quote from an official government guide. They say he's like a mountain that people can hide behind for protection. Think about that. He's not just a leader, he's portrayed as a force of nature. This is the language of worship, designed to make him seem like some kind of superhuman, godlike figure.
And the state propaganda machine works overtime to build this myth. According to them, he is a master of literally everything. He's a marksman who never misses his target, a pop singer, a record-breaking cyclist, a genius horse trainer, a scientist, and even a professional-level bowler who only throws strikes. It's this ridiculous superhuman resume designed to make him seem infallible. And as you might expect, this power is now becoming a family business. The father officially passed the presidency to his son a few years back, but almost everyone agrees he's still the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. And now they're already grooming the next generation. His young grandson is starting to pop up all over state media. It's a classic family dynasty in the making. Okay, so that's the shiny white marble image the government wants the world to see. But what is life really like for the average person living behind that facade? Well, this is where the propaganda and reality are just worlds apart. So on the one hand, the regime will show off these fancy restaurants to foreigners, bragging about how you can get luxuries like caviar for super cheap. But then you have footage secretly filmed by dissidents, these incredibly brave citizens risking everything, and it shows a totally different story. Local grocery stores where the shelves are filled with products that are way past their expiration date. It's the same thing with other essentials. The state loves to boast that natural gas is practically free, that a full tank of gas costs less than 8 cents. But the hidden cameras reveal the harsh truth. Ordinary citizens waiting in massive lines, sometimes for hours,
just to get basics like clean drinking water or their rationed food supplies. And that brings us to the darkest, most disturbing part of this picture. What happens to people who step out of line? What's the price of dissent? Well, the regime uses fear, public humiliation, and just brutal repression to maintain its total control. I mean, just look at this chilling example. The country's own interior minister gets publicly berated by the president on national television. Then, just 2 months later, he's dragged back on TV, but this time his head is shaved and he's in handcuffs. According to reports from dissidents, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. It's a terrifyingly public message to everyone. This is what happens if you cross me. And his story is not unique. Major human rights organizations, we're talking big names here, accuse the regime of absolutely horrific abuses. Things like making political opponents just disappear, holding fake trials, torturing people in prison, and using forced labor.
But maybe the whole situation is summed up best by this quote from Sultan Teganova, a Turkmen activist now living in exile. She says, "The poverty in my country is covered up with these beautiful buildings." And then she says this is not a life, it's not a country, it's a prison. So we end right back where we started. We've seen the evidence, the bizarre rules, the ghost town capital, the leader who's portrayed as a superhero, and the grim reality of poverty hidden behind all that marble. The source material makes the case that this unique combination of total control and near-complete isolation makes Turkmenistan even more of a hermit kingdom than North Korea. After seeing all this, what do you think? And maybe the bigger question is, how can a country like this even exist with so little attention from the rest of the world?